Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Say hi if you're getting on. I'm going to just wait until I see one person get on, because then I will be successful in life. All right, Jeff's coming on. All right, so excited. This is the beginning of the beginning, people. There's Jeff.
Hi.
All right, so welcome to our live. I already see people on from all walks of life for me, so this will be fantastic. So thanks, Jeff, for getting on. I'm from Colorado, so is Jeff, so that's awesome. We know each other from quite a few things. He went to some of the seminars I was a part of, and I did photography for, and so that's how we really met. And then he has an adorable, seriously adorable wife. It's kind of ridiculous how adorable she is.
It is super
So
ridiculous.
she's gorgeous. It is ridiculous. They both live in Grand Junction, so he's a real estate agent there and is rocking out his business. And so we just thought we'd get on and try and do a live together and see how that went. Hey, Charles, welcome. All right, so we're gonna be chomping down on a large subject. So we'll be taking little nibbles of that elephant and let's see what we come up with. But hit new if you've never seen any of my lives. Hit replay if you're on the replay. And then, of course, we would love heart emojis or whatever you'd like to give us
I love
for love
emojis.
so we know. Huh?
I love heart emojis.
Yeah, do emojis. I like to, but this one's going to be a little bit more heart related.
Yeah.
We'll keep it in the heart today. So, one of my mentors has challenged me to talk about one of my toughest moments. And so, yeah. All right, I'll do that. And sometimes when you're in the moment and it's right now, then it's hard to choose like what part you're going to bite off, right? And personally, I want to come from a personally responsible place or a somewhat healed place because my goal is to not hurt more people. Always. It's always my goal to learn, change, shift, grow, and move forward. Instead of drag, pull, get taken to the pit and have an awful life. Oh my gosh, there's such cool people on right now. Hey, Laura. You're going to love this one, sister. All right, so so I'm talking about my toughest moment right now. I just went through a divorce. It actually just went through on July 5th, which was actually the day that I got engaged 3 years ago, the same exact day. I don't even know what to say about that. The issue in that relationship was naivete. I don't even know how to say that word. The naiveness that I had around addiction. And so, like, I knew that that was a struggle in his life before we got started in the marriage. But I was so naive about addiction that I went right into, sweet, he told me he was sober 3 years. Let's do this thing. He's got this under control. And so, unfortunately, I learned the very, very hard way that it's really not that easy. And sometimes you get pulled down into a pit that is dark and deep. And so we're talking about addiction today because I heard Jeff's share last night on his live. Just people are dying out there. And we're both kind of trailblazers in the world, for lack of better words. It's a great word. And that is a subject he was talking about yesterday, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do that subject then. So
I
Jeff,
inspired you.
You did. And we have a lot of people watching. So please say hi and give emojis. And if this subject matter is close to your heart, please share it. We'd love to have you share this. We have no idea what's going to happen on this call, and I trust that it will be amazing. Um, so I believed that if someone said they were clean and clear for 3 years, that meant the party lifestyle was over. What are your thoughts and knowledge about addiction, first of all, Jeff? And then can you just choose out one day and be done with it forever, or what are your thoughts around that? And this is for the person listening that has addiction, and this is for the person that is in a relationship.
Yeah, so I my experience with addiction personally is I have a lot of family members that struggle from alcoholism or drug addiction. I have seen quite a few deaths and bad things happen in my family. I've seen relationships fall apart due to addiction. I have seen families torn apart. I have seen just a lot of pretty nasty stuff go on with addiction. Um, you know, and so the I don't know. I think it's been affecting me all of my life. I've seen my uncles and my aunts like fighting. Um, I've seen my two of my uncles now have committed suicide. One of them actually was not alcohol related, but he struggled with alcoholism all of his life and had just gone sober for like a couple of years. So I think, me personally, I am a big believer in the power of the mind. Uh, and so, yes, I believe that, yes, you can just decide and stop. Um, and that is hard. It's hard for me to even say because I know that there's a lot of stories out there about addicts and a lot of people that are recovering addicts, or maybe they're in the middle of addictions right now, and they will, say like, you don't understand. It's not what you think it is, and
Right.
they're probably right. I don't. I mean, my addiction was cigarettes. You know, I was addicted to cigarettes for quite a few years, and so I mean, that's not, to me, that's not like on the scale of an addiction, that would take your mind away from you, like alcohol or drugs.
Right, like the numbing out aspect.
Yeah, yeah. It's still to me a form of sedation. I definitely used cigarettes as a crutch, and I used my life as an excuse to smoke instead of choosing not to smoke because I was choosing life.
Well, okay, so the people that I know that have been extremely successful in conquering addiction, there's a lot of them on this call actually right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So so I want to give a huge shout out to them, because the reason I believed that things could be better was because I've had these role models.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done a ton of work. They've done a ton of work to make their marriages work. They've done a ton of work. You have done a ton of work. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you can just choose one day. I do agree with that as well. And I absolutely believe in divine healing, even. But at the same time, you can say that is not you any longer and you're moving forward, but you have to do a ton of work too.
Yeah. Yeah.
To take yourself on and to care about the other person so deeply that you're willing to do whatever it takes, right? Just like you have been in your marriage.
Yeah.
And so, um, just when you have someone that wasn't excited about getting emotional, but when I see all the faces that are staring at me, I get emotional because not only have they been my absolute rock through this experience, so having a good core team of people that absolutely believe who you are and what you can accomplish is a huge piece of that too, right?
Yes.
And so when you have your family members committing suicide just recently, um, everyone kind of goes into blame like they didn't do enough for that person. But the reality of it is that person has pushed away help and love and stuff for so long, or hidden for so long. Can you go into that a little bit and just about numbing out pain and what that cycle looks like?
Yeah. So the my cousin, for those of you on the call that don't know, like 2 days ago, actually, yeah, 2 days ago or 2 nights ago, my cousin decided to take his own life, and literally, I'm talking to some of my other cousins who, all of us are very, very close. We've always hung out. We all grew up together. We all grew up hanging out together. And literally, like, most of us had no idea. Like, we knew that he was, he had recovered from alcoholism, or, well, he had kind of recovered, but he had relapsed, and he had been drinking over the last couple of months, and stuff. But yeah, he. What was the question again? Sorry.
Just talking about how instead of going into blame for someone else's choice,
Yes.
like what now for you, you know?
Yeah. So it's hard to truly grasp the concept that we cannot save people, right? I have like a mantra that I say to myself every day, which is I'm a leader, I am not a savior. And because a lot of my life personally, I've like jumped in and tried to do everything I can to save people, instead of leading them. And so it's a hard concept to grasp that you can't save them, but there might be something that you can say or that you can do, or there might be some sort of an example that you can set, to let them
Right.
know. And I think it's important to let people know that there's always an outlet for them, to let people know that are important to you. Everybody's different, and obviously none of us have the time to reach out to every single person that we know, to every single day, to let them know, like, hey, if you're struggling, hey, if you're having a hard time, like that's a big thing, that's a big thing to take on. And so a lot of us go into guilt and shame because there's something going on inside of us that we feel like we could have saved it, or we could have stopped it, or we could have
Right.
done something differently, when really it ultimately comes down to the choices that they were making. That's the choice that they made, and the only thing that maybe you could have done differently. I mean, every situation is different. It's hard to really, like, nail it down to one thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's interesting that you said it's so crazy that you said this, because my biggest find for myself as I've gone through counseling and healing and work, I have 80,000 counselors in my in my life.
right.
So everyone has a fantastic tidbit for me to take on for the day. But I love it. It feels very loving. But my biggest find in all that was my love cannot save a man. even though I really did think it could. I thought if I could believe so much in that person that they would be the best them ever. But intentionally, if they are not in that same belief system, if their intention is to self-loathe and believe that they are the devil or whatever you want to, whatever goes on in people's self-talk, you cannot control that.
Yeah. Well,
So that's really cool that you said that statement.
I think it comes down to, Amanda, I think it really is like the game of fear, right? The game of fear is a very interesting game because, like I said yesterday, people just slowly and gradually, close themselves up, and they put themselves into this tiny little box, and their
Yeah.
box becomes so small that the thought of even putting their hand outside of the box becomes absolutely paralyzing to them because it's so scary.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, you'll get somebody that says, yes, I really want to change my life. Yes, I want to do something different. And you go, okay, reach your hand outside of your box for me. And you take them by the hand, and they do a really good job. And at first they're really, really committed. But eventually it just becomes like so uncomfortable. It's, the uncomfortability factor goes up and up and up and up and up. And
Yeah.
and then what happens when they get that uncomfortable? They revert back, and it truly takes being able to basically say F you, fear, and break through that. It's a very thin veil of uncomfortability, but it seems so paralyzing. It seems like
Mm-hmm.
so far away, so out of reach. But ultimately, it really comes down to people become so uncomfortable that they don't know what else to do. That's the only way. That's the only thing that they know how to do. I didn't
Right.
even know when I was sedating myself. I had no idea that that's what I was actually doing. I was telling my wife, like, I just want to have fun. Why can't you just let me have fun? Like, I'm not, you know, I just want to go have fun. And then I would go get so shit faced that like I was falling into the walls and puking, and, you know, and she was having to drag me around the house, and she's a tiny girl. She can barely, like I'm not a small dude. So, like that, I had no idea that that's what I was doing. It took me like looking inward and having the courage to look deep enough inward and tell the truth to myself and not lie to myself. And that was like really
And
the game changers.
well, and that's if you have enough courage to get past the pride of the failure,
Hmm.
the perceived failure, which I'm in the same boat, right? I'm sitting here going, I haven't even talked about this yet. Awesome. My close friends know all about it. you know? But it's like, it's time to like just bring it to the light um, because now I can be a light to other people, you know? And the pride is the biggest reason we don't do things, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I run several businesses. I'm a successful businesswoman. I've been in a room where people actually look up to me as a facilitator, and I still don't have my shit together. And it's like, who does? Can you name one person that has their shit together? I mean, on any subject matter.
Yeah.
So when you finally get over the pride and you actually bring this stuff to the light, and I see many faces on here that I totally look up to and love because they've done that with their story, is just like, keep going. Like, this is not who you are. And your character is the person that chooses in the darkness and says, okay, I'm going to pull my ass out of bed today because I have 2 kids. I'm going to do this today. But not wanting to do it live and vulnerably because it could hurt my businesses or it could hurt my mask or my facade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I started watching your lives, because I know some of your stuff in your past and marriage and stuff like that. And the way you talk about your wife, that's a man to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you talk about um, just honoring her, but also talking about your truths. What was your truths in the marriage? What your part was in it? You don't need to explain who she was or what she has done in the marriage, because that brings so much healing for you to just come from that place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, again, that's like, I had to get really honest with myself, you know, and say, like, if this is the marriage that I want, like, you know, what, one night I was sitting there and it was just like pouring out of me, like, this is the marriage that I want, you know. And if this is the marriage that I want, like, how am I actually showing up for her in any way that she would actually show up for me the way that I would like her to?
Right.
And I had to do, like, we are nowhere near like a perfect marriage, you know. Like, it's still work every day, every week. It's still work, you know. But we do the work.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's the commitment to do the work. Like, I've literally had to be getting better at being a husband every day for like 6 months straight. Like, I've had to do it consistently. It didn't just come overnight. It wasn't from me like sending her one really nice text. It's because I sent her a really nice it's because I sent her a really nice text every single day for the last 6 months. You know what I mean?
You're creating a pattern so that this is the new norm instead of that, the thing that you're super comfortable going back into.
Yes. Yes. I can't, like, I'm not willing to. I mean, it took really hard conversations. Like, I had to tell my wife, and it was scary as shit. It was scary as shit. But I had to tell my wife, like, I am no longer willing to accept a marriage that feels like this. You know?
And are you in or out?
Yeah, exactly.
And it forges your bond even closer when you both choose in again.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the really important part of rebuilding trust and all that stuff, is everyone's choosing back in.
Right.
And you guys have done a lot of work. And so if I can put anything out there tonight, this is work to be an amazing person or to have something to say to the world. Everyone has something to say. That's one of my favorite quotes that I wrote, which sounds really humble. But it's like, I say it so much, it's like I might as well just put my name behind that one. But it's like, we're all leading people somewhere, and the question is, would you follow you? And that is like, there's certain times, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. So just getting back into integrity with yourself. So when you did that with your wife, with Linz, you created integrity again. So what I've found along the lines, when you're out of integrity with one thing, just the stupidest thing, like you got free something at a restaurant and you should have told the waiter it wasn't on the bill or something like that, it starts downward spiraling. It starts allowing inadequacies to downward spiral, and eventually you're so out of integrity with yourself, you can't function.
Yep.
And so, like, thank you for taking yourself on And thank you. I mean, you've been a huge supporter to the seminars that I'm a part of,
Mhm.
and you attended the men's retreat. And so, can you talk about anything that you learned there that was like a super aha for you? I know this is off the cuff. I didn't give you the questions beforehand.
That's okay. No, that's cool. Yeah, so when I did the men's, I called it the men's retreat. I forget the name.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I went on retreat. I'm on holiday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's the Forge experience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I did that, and that was honestly, that was the beginning of the awareness. That was the opening of my eyes to see again, because I
Yeah.
was trapped very deep in a very dark pit of pain, of anger, of shame, and guilt. And that was the beginning of me attending that seminar. Was the beginning of me opening my eyes and being able to see, like, holy shit, I'm in a pit of, you know, pain, anger, and shame and guilt and all this other crap, and I'm swimming around in a big pool of crap,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's what I love the seminars we're a part of, is because it's experiential learning for everyone who's on here that I don't even know. But thank you guys for showing up on this call. Please share this, obviously, or tag people in it if you'd like them to see it. But basically, experiential learning in seminar work is where you put the group or the person in an experience. It could just be something really not even a big deal. You don't think it's a big deal, but you really find out from your core who you are and how you're responding to life right now. And so it's not pretty, and it is so fantastic, because experiential means you experienced it and you will remember it now because you had an experience around it. And so that's how all of our pain is remembered, right? Because we experienced something traumatic or whatever, and that's why we remember it all the time. And so that's what he's talking about, is those seminars. um so I think that's about it for as far. Do you have anything else? Well, I did have a question of what advice would you give to women that are in a situation where they do want to stay in the marriage, but they aren't quite sure how to speak to their husband about, like, this marriage isn't, like, what do we got to do?
Well, um, I think that, like, the key is being willing to put it all on the line. Is to be able to say, like, okay, this is what's going on in my marriage. You know, make a list. These are all the things that I am not willing to accept. This is what I need. These are the non-negotiable things that I need, and decide whether you're willing to accept the things that you are pissed off about, because based on results at this point you are,
Mm-hmm.
or go to the other list and say, I'm willing to put my marriage on the line to have this, and I'm willing to literally walk away.
Yeah.
And then the second piece of that would be to, when you need to kick your man in the nuts, do it. It needs to be done, I agree. But when you do it with grace. Do it with grace, and not out. It has to be done, out of, like, true encouragement and true love, not out of,
Right.
like, I'm mad at you because you got mad at me and all of that.
Which is interesting you bring that up in front of me, because the piece that I do in Beauty Revealed is all about how we as women are emasculating our men.
Mm.
And it's not necessary to get what we desire, And so, yeah, you don't need to be kicked in the nuts. There needs to be a conversation of love, really from the space of I. I created this in our marriage, and this is what it created in you, I believe. And so now we're on this cycle from hell.
Yep.
So now I want to, if I want to ask for forgiveness and I want to try this, and I would ask you to notice it and respond how you would respond to that change, that those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I'm it's funny because the world does not teach against emasculating men, and it's a tough subject. and I have a college degree in it, so
Right. So does Lindsay.
I'm the best person. Huh?
I said so does Lindsay.
What?
Yeah.
Well, we love to see her at Beauty Revealed, but not for that purpose, just because we love her.
Well,
so
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Can I just get like really super honest?
No, because we've been really surfacey up so far.
Yeah. So I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? Men want to be loved, they want to get laid, and they want to get paid. Those are the three things that men want. They want to know every day that they're important, and they want to get laid, and they want to get paid. That's what's important to them. That's it. Like, that's the honest truth. I know it sounds like really shitty and men are dogs because they want to get laid, but it's the truth. That's what drives men. Just like love and security fuels women. That's what they want. They want security. That comes down to getting paid. You know, I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah, and they want to know that they play a significant role in life, you know, instead of just being in the kitchen barefoot. Or honestly, this is funny because all my programs are coming up like, who is listening to this? Like complete strangers are on right now that I've just met in the last week. But this is real life, people. Like, this is real life. People are freaking dying on a daily basis. So it's time to start talking about some real raw subjects.
Yeah.
But for me, that's true. I've heard that my whole life. And I would just ask you to shift something just for your wife, is that a woman wants to be made love to, not get laid.
Well, that was men. Women want security and love. Yes, I get that. Trust me.
So, but it's the tenderness and care and concern that makes that part of your life amazing.
Yeah.
And when you take care of your woman in that way from a tenderness space and honoring your queen, as you called her the other day, it's not about that's when the shift from emasculation shifts out of a woman and they actually go, oh, this is actually what I crave. And I don't have to emasculate them to get it.
Right.
You know, emasculation's out of anger. Like, you didn't do this for me, and so now you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay real nice. So we're down to 4 viewers now.
Yeah.
Our viewing went down to 4 from 15. So we hit on some pretty heavy, deep and real subjects. But bottom line, like, what would you want to leave this live with? What's your what would you want to tell people?
What's been on my mind today is to it came to me this morning, and it's been on my heart all day, is to let people know that you are important. You are important to somebody. But most importantly, you are important to yourself. And so let the people that know that, who are important to you, to let them know that they are important, And don't forget that you are important too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is a Heavy, Deep, and Real live. It's my first one. Honestly, I believe it's what I'm supposed to be doing, which is very exciting for me. I've been throwing this around for a while, but thank you, Jeff, for coming on, especially with what you've just gone through.
My pleasure.
And that was kick butt to me to be able to, because the one thing I can offer people that are going through a trial or a huge loss in life, I would urge you strongly to go out and play big. And what that does for you is so fueling to your life, to give from a place of loss, not in a victim standpoint, but from a, this is a big subject and I'm passionate about it, and this is what I want to tell everyone. Like, maybe we can save one more life today. Would it be worth it? Yes. And that's why Jeff and I are on tonight. So thank you. Tell Lynn's hi, and everyone that's on, hit replay if you're watching it from the replay. And if you're new, please put new, because I want to say hi to you. And tag or share this if you feel like it's going to be received well, especially with the cuss words and all the realness of our hearts came out tonight. So love you guys, and thank you so much.
Bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you, Jeff.
See ya.